I didn't think much about the house across the street until the night I saw someone standing in the old lady's window, waving at me like we knew each other. The old lady had died a few months before that. I didn't know her name, not really. My mom probably did, but to me, she was always just the old lady across the street. The one who sat by the window all day. The one who gave me candy when I was little. The one who somehow knew everything. Like, actually everything. If I came home late, she'd mention it the next day. If I left my bike out, she'd tell me before my parents even noticed. Once when I was maybe 10, she said, "Your mom's still mad about the vase, isn't she?" Even though that had happened inside our house. I used to think that was just what old people did. They watched the street. They remembered stuff. Whatever. Then she died and the house went dark. For a while, I stopped looking at it. Then one night, coming back from practice, I saw the living room light on, just one lamp. The same yellow one she always had next to her chair. I slowed down. Someone moved behind the curtain, not her, too tall, a man. He stood there for a second, then lifted his hand. I looked away and kept walking. At dinner I said, "Someone's in the old lady's house." My dad said, "Probably family." My mom said, "Don't stare into people's windows." So that was that. The next morning there was an envelope in our mailbox. No stamp, no address, just blank white paper. Inside was a photo of me as a little kid sitting in our front yard with a popsicle melting down my hand. I remembered the shirt. I remembered the plastic soccer net behind me. I didn't remember anybody taking the picture. On the back, someone had written, "You were happier then." I should have told my parents. I didn't. I told myself the old lady probably took it years ago. She used to sit at that window all day. Maybe the guy found some old photos and thought it was funny. 2 days later, I met him. I was coming home from school and he was standing by the old lady's gate pretending to mess with the hedge. I say pretending because he had no gloves, no tools, nothing. He was just standing there. "Hey," he said. I nodded and kept walking. "You're getting tall." I stopped, smiled like that was a normal thing to say. He was maybe 40, maybe older, plain face, plain jacket, the kind of guy you'd forget 5 seconds after seeing him. "I'm Bill," he said. I didn't ask. "I knew the old lady," he added. "Helped her out sometimes." "Okay." He looked past me toward our house. "You guys still keep the spare key in the shed?" My whole body felt weird, like my stomach dropped but the rest of me stayed still. He laughed a little. "Relax," she told me. But that made it worse, because why would she know that and why would she tell him? After that, I started noticing him everywhere, not in some dramatic movie way. He wasn't following me down alleys or standing under streetlights in the rain. He was just always around. At the window when I left for school, in the garden when I got back, near the bins when I took out the trash. And he always said small things, stuff that sounded harmless until I thought about it later. "Big test tomorrow. Your dad working late again. Your room light was on pretty late last night." That last one really got to me. I started closing my curtains. Then one Thursday I came home and my mom was standing in the hallway. She looked annoyed. "Were you already home?" she asked. "No. I heard someone upstairs." I went quiet. She called my dad. He checked every room. Nothing was missing. No broken windows. No open doors. Then I went into my room. There was a piece of candy on my desk. The same kind the old lady used to give me. Gold wrapper, sticky at the ends. Under it was a note. "You should lock your window too." That was when I finally told them everything. My dad went straight across the street and knocked on the door. Hard. No one answered. He looked through the front window and came back pale. My mom called the police. At first, they acted like adults always do when they think a kid is exaggerating. They asked if I was sure, asked if I had any problems at school, asked if maybe I knew the man and just didn't want to say. Then one of them found footprints in the flower bed under my window and scratches on the drain pipe. After that, they took it seriously. They searched the house across the street the next day. I watched from our kitchen window while they carried out boxes. Not one or two, a lot. Folders, bags, old cameras, a laptop. Later I heard my parents talking in the kitchen. Quietly, like that would stop me from hearing. The man wasn't really called Bill, or maybe he was, but nobody could prove it. He wasn't the old lady's son. Wasn't her nephew either. He had been helping her near the end. Groceries, bills, repairs, that kind of thing. But the police found out he'd been staying there way longer than anyone knew. There was a little room behind a wardrobe upstairs, a mattress on the floor, a kettle, stacks of notebooks and photos of our street, photos of people walking their dogs, photos of kids coming home from school, photos of our house, photos of me. Some were from years ago, some were recent. A few were taken from inside our yard. 3 were of my bedroom window. 1 was taken from close enough that you could see the posters on my wall. The worst part was realizing the old lady hadn't known everything because she was nosy. She'd known because he'd been telling her, or maybe because he'd been using her. They didn't find him. By the time the police searched the house, he was gone. After that, my parents changed the locks. My dad put up cameras. My mom started checking every window before bed, then checking them again 10 minutes later. For a while, nothing happened. The house across the street went dark again. People stopped talking about it, and then about a month later, there was another envelope in our mailbox. No photo this time, no candy, just a note. It said, "I will wait."